What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'm going to break down some big news coming out for the market for tomorrow that's very important, and what you should be watching for as time progresses. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total, and the offer ends at the end of March. Anyways, as far as Tesla's going, we're making lower highs right now, which is not a good sign. We also lost this 274 support. I mentioned we had to hold this for there to be some hope for the bulls, but if we lost this, we're going to be expecting this to be dipping a bit more. So one thing to remember about the markets is that we could get new news and new things that come out that shake the markets, even when we least expect it. And in this case, like I said before, Tesla's looking weak since we lost 274. Now, we had this news that came out that Canada has frozen Tesla rebates worth about $43 million to check if each one is valid, and that's some big news right now. I saw other sources saying that politics is one of the reasons why, not to mention other factors like that, and others are arguing that they're doing this in response to the tariffs. So it's all these different things, tariffs, Elon Musk, and etc. The transport minister said that Tesla would remain ineligible as long as the U.S. tariffs are in place. And it's getting very political right now, especially with Elon Musk's involvement. So just keep all of this in mind. This is what's essentially going on, and this is some bad news for Tesla. This is part of why it's down like 6%. Now, heading into tomorrow, it's going to be Thursday, March 27th. I want to give you guys a warning about something. So tomorrow morning before market open, we have the GDP growth rate coming out. And more GDP numbers. So this may cause some volatility. So get ready for that just to be safe. The GDP growth rate is going to give us some insights about how our economic output is looking so far. And this is going to be our next estimates. So we'll see how it ends up looking. Will we see a decline in GDP? We also have initial jobless claims in the morning. So I just want to give you guys a warning about this. If you think the GDP numbers are going to be very, very poor tomorrow, you want to be very, very careful holding anything overnight. If you think the numbers are going to be good, it could also cause a bounce in the markets. We don't truly know. So I just want to give you guys a heads up about that. So that's going to be important. With that being said, like I said before, if you're holding anything overnight, just be careful. Technically speaking, Tesla's a bit more bearish unless we end up reclaiming 274, which is it's not really looking like it's going to do that right now. So it needs a little bit more time. If we're bullish, you'll have to reclaim at least 274 around this support. We have to reclaim this to try to bounce. If we don't do that, we're going to be at risk of dipping towards like 265. So be careful. We're looking a bit more bearish right now, but keep in mind we have more data coming out tomorrow. So just be a little bit careful if you're holding anything overnight. For SPY, we're also looking more bearish. We have a gap to fill all the way down here around the 564 to 565 area. The pre-market gap is at 565, but the gap on the daily is at 564. So there's a good chance that we do see this continues to decline. So I want to warn everyone to be very, very careful. We have this trend line right here. We haven't really broken the trend line yet. That kind of aligns with the gap. So if SPY does not reclaim 568, we're going to be at risk of dipping towards 564 to 565, which is where this trend line is, and this gap to fill. So please keep that in mind. For the QQQ, it's the same thing. We're approaching this trend line. We could be dipping towards 480 if we can't reclaim 485. Looks bearish for now, so be careful. If you're holding anything overnight, also be careful with the GDP numbers coming out. The Russell came down to 206 and lost. That's now we're dipping towards this gap fill around 204. So it's still looking weak. If we can't hold this trend line, it's going to be likely continuing to fall. So please be careful as we hit this support at 204. The next target is 202 if that fails us. For ES, unfortunately, we lost 5,800, so now we're dipping towards this support over here. We're going to be watching to see if we hold right here around this 5,735 area. If that doesn't hold, we could be dipping towards 5,700 flat, so be very careful and watch this range that has been developing. On NQ, we're looking a bit more bearish, watching 20,000 to see if it holds. If it doesn't hold, we could be dipping towards 19,900. We're also trying to make higher lows here, so give it some time, but we're still looking a bit more bearish. For Bitcoin, we're rejecting right here. We have to see if we could hold 85,750. If that fails us, we could be dipping towards 84,000. If we manage to reclaim 87,000, we could try a bounce, but it's looking unlikely right now. We look a little bit weaker. Nvda lost support, which is a bad sign. We were supposed to hold 114 to 115. It's not holding. So that's once again opening the doors for about this like 111 imbalance. And then we have a gap all the way down here on 109. So it looks a bit more bearish. For Aapl, we're looking a little bit weaker. We're looking to see if 220 holds or not. If it holds, we could try bounce. If not, it could be dipping more towards 215. So just keep that in mind. For Coinbase, we're dipping. We have a gap to fill all the way down to about 190. As Bitcoin dips, this is following the trend. Amazon's looking weak here. We're watching to see if 200 holds. If it doesn't hold, we have a gap to fill around 196. For Meta, we're looking kind of weak. We have to try to hold around that 605 area. If it doesn't hold, we could fill the gap to 595. Microsoft could be dipping. We need to try to get back above 391. Otherwise, we're looking for a move down to 383. And Google needs to try to reclaim 168. Otherwise, we're looking for a dip to 164. With that being said, the VIX is elevated, starting to bounce. It's looking like it's going for that 19 area. That's a bearish signal for the markets as we got this big rejection. Kashkari's speech is what started this sell-off, and we're seeing other factors now coming into play. So as the market gets close to resistance near 564 to 565 on SPY, we'll see if we hold. And we'll see how well Tesla holds near the support. Otherwise, we're looking for that 265 to 260 range right over here, which I think Tesla could be visiting before we see an attempt to bounce. And if we lose 260, we have a gap to fall all the way back down towards 250. So you want to be very careful with Tesla. There's a risk of more downside, so please keep that in mind. Thank you for listening. Be careful if you're holding anything overnight with more data coming out. And I'll see you guys very soon with another upload in just a couple of hours. Have a good day and peace out.